I won't forget that morning, not if I live to be 100. I counted the men as they marched out of the yard. They'd hardly slept for weeks. We of the CID had slept even less, but the nightmare that kept us awake was all the same nightmare. That's why we weren't surprised when the commissioner asked us up to the conference room for a bit of a talk. He'd talked to us plenty, we knew that. It didn't help any to know what was ahead of us.
Must we have that window open, Gregson?
Oh, shut it if you want to. Chief will be in enough of a temper without having a ruddy blast down the back of his neck.
Gentlemen, the commissioner.
Stuffy in here. Be seated, won't you? Gentlemen, if you wish to know what able men you are, read any of the works of popular fiction that glamorize your achievements, but don't, I beg of you, read the daily papers. They might give you an inferiority complex. I hate to mention it, but we're confronted with a series of the most atrocious murders since Jack the Ripper. And in the meantime, the CID might as well be playing at shove halfpenny for all the good we've accomplished. Now look. Here, here, and here. Each of these red flags scattered through the city stands for a woman brutally murdered, a woman's terror, a woman's death agony. These are no ordinary crimes. These are the works of a fiend who kills first and mutilates afterwards. A ghoul who hacks off a part of his victim's body and carries it away with him, a loathsome souvenir of his butchery. 3 women murdered so far, and you haven't turned in one clue. You haven't given me one lead. Here you sit and wait for news of a 4th victim, with your arms folded.
Well, we hadn't long to wait. It was down Lambeth Way where a young woman was hurrying home late last night. She saw something and stopped. It was a constable. He spoke to her, and he walked along with her, just in case. He saw her go down the stairway to the basement lodging where she lived. We can only surmise what happened after that. My pride in my pocket and went to see the man who so often helped out Inspector Lestrade and myself in the past, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. If ever a man needed help, I did.
This makes 4, Inspector. 4 defenseless women here in the heart of London.
And everyone with the right forefinger hacked off.
Not hacked, Inspector Gregson. Cleanly, expertly severed. The work of a skilled surgeon. That's our only clue.
Much about the age of my sister's girl. Is there no way of stopping this, Mr. Holmes?
Yes. There's a way, somehow. The fiend that did this. I promise. I promise.
We've nothing to go on. That's the rotten part of it. We can't get far without knowing the motive.
Well, at least we know what the motives were not. It wasn't robbery, nor passion, thanks be, nor yet vengeance. Because they all came of totally unrelated families. Steady, Inspector, steady.
Sorry, Mr. Holmes. I don't turn a hair when it's a bloke that can look after himself. A little slip of a thing like that.
Yes, it's horrible. Come on, let's get a drink.
Good evening,
Mr. Holmes. Good evening, Vincent. Whiskey and soda, please, and a double for my friend here, Inspector Gregson.
Thank you, sir. Make mine Irish. Decent of you to give me a hand with this thing, Mr. Holmes.
Always a pleasure to be of help to Scotland Yard, Inspector.
Little out of my line. Looking for a maniac who murders just for the fun of the thing.
Or perhaps just to get a human finger. In all 4 cases, the murderer risked capture by stopping to secure a finger. Well, what for?
Who knows? He's just a madman.
Perhaps there's method in his madness. If we could just trace those missing fingers.
If we could just drain the English Channel, we might find a penny. Huh?
Oh, thank you. May I keep those, Mr. Holmes? Thank you.
Sir George Fenwick, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that his daughter with him?
Don't be so naive, Inspector.
You know everyone, don't you, darling?
Well, hardly. A week ago, I didn't know you.
A week. How fast it's gone.
I collect these things.
How very quaint of you.
Shall we go?
Yes.
What are you looking at, Mr. Holmes?
Looking at a very handsome woman. Not born to the purple, but giving an excellent imitation.
Would you like to come to my flat for a nightcap?
Lovely idea.
Yes, isn't it?
Wonder where she's taking Sir George Fenwick.
Don't be so naive, Mr. Holmes.
Good evening, Mum.
Hello, Grandin. Any messages?
No, Mum.
Thank you. Drinks, Grandin. One of your nice surprises.
Yes, Mum.
I say, you don't mean that...
Grandin's a marvel, aren't you, Grandin?
Yes, Mum.
You wouldn't believe the things she can do.
Ah, charming place. Delightful.
Really? You think so? I'm so glad. Do sit down. Do you mind?
Do I mind? What a question. I don't mind anything, really. Except not being with you.
Now, you really don't want me to believe that, do you?
Not too seriously.
Good. We're both quite grown up, aren't we?
Quite.
You're a treasure, Grandin. And lower the lights a little as you leave. I prefer a more flattering light.
In any light, you'd be...
Would I?
And don't you know it?
Perhaps I do. Oh, that priceless woman. You wouldn't believe it, but she's absurdly romantic. She loves dreamy music, and she thinks that we...
But we do, don't we?
Do we?
Well, it's rather soothing, restful.
Yes. And we all need rest at times, like tired children who played too long. You've played with wooden soldiers, I suppose.
Funny. Hadn't thought of that for years.
Toy boats were my special joy. Anything I could set afloat anywhere. Like this. And this. Toy boats sailing into the Never Never Land. The land of beautiful dreams. Look. Look, odd, isn't it, how the light is reflected? Little specks of light that move and move. Like stars on a slowly moving stream.
You know, Holmes, I'm very sensitive to atmosphere.
No?
Yes, I can tell by the feel of this room there's been a murder committed here.
It may interest you to know, my dear fellow, it was the other side of that door at the foot of the stairs that the poor girl was murdered. If only I could find it.
Find what?
The one thing these unfortunate victims have in common that might give us a motive for these murders. There must be something.
Another Jack the Ripper, if you ask me, a homicidal maniac.
No, Watson. In the case of Jack the Ripper, there was one thing in common. His victims were all from one walk of life, living in the same section of the city. In this case, the murderer chooses his victims from all walks of life and from different sections of the city. No, my dear fellow, this is not the work of a homicidal maniac. It's something infinitely more sinister.
You mean the creeps? What on earth are you talking about?
Watson, I'm convinced that these murders are only incidental to some larger and more diabolical scheme.
That may be, but why the severed fingers?
The answer to that question, my dear fellow, is our only hope of solving these mysteries.
Dear sister, I am so happy. I had such a lovely holiday at Brighton with you and Alf. And I'm looking forward to being with you again. Poor little thing. Sort of raises a lump in your throat. I can picture her sitting here happily writing this letter. And not bit realizing that she's shortly going to her death. Hello? Gregson?
Oh, there you are, Mr. Holmes. I've been looking for you everywhere.
What's happened?
Murder in Edgware Road, not half an hour ago.
Woman?
Yes. And the right forefinger cut off clean.
Shocking murder, murder in Edgware Road. Horrible murder of a young woman. Read all about the murder.
Only fancy, Mum. There's been another of those horrible murders.
Dear, dear, how shocking.
Yes, Mum. I really don't feel quite safe here myself. Oh, dear.
Why, Sir George!
I must see Miss Marlowe at once.
I don't know if she...
I must see her. Where is she? Lydia.
Why, Sir George, what is it? What happened?
I don't know. You'll have to help me. You've got to help me.
But I don't understand.
Listen. I woke up a few minutes ago in a cheap boarding house off Edgware Road. I don't know how I came there. I don't know when. The last thing I remember is being here with you.
Calm yourself, Sir George.
When did I leave here?
Well, it was about,
It was 10:45, Mum. Precisely.
You seemed, forgive me, just a little distressed. Detached, not interested. I thought I'd said something to offend you.
I don't remember. I can't remember.
Tell me, has this happened to you before?
Before?
Well, there is such a thing as amnesia, you know.
If it was 10:45 when I left you, it was 9 this morning when I woke. Over 10 hours lost. 10 hours that I can't account for. And in my pocket when I woke, I found... Yeah, in my pocket. That isn't...
Oh, it's not for you, of course. It can't be.
Excuse me, Mum, but there's a man asking to see the gentleman.
Send him away.
Yes, Mum.
No, please. I'll see him.
Well? Delightful room. Not much like the place you woke up in this morning.
You followed me here?
Yes.
Are you a detective?
Oh, no. Quite the contrary. Don't be afraid, Sir George.
You know my name?
Oh, yes. A very old and highly honored name. And being the bearer of such a name, and also a very wealthy man, I thought you might care to possess yourself of this trifle. Rather than let it fall into the hands of the police. It is yours, if I'm not mistaken. The initials, GF.
Where did you get this?
It came out of your pocket. I saw it fall, but you never noticed. You were very busy, bending over something with a knife. Then you put something in your pocket.
Come along, Holmes, come along, come along. How many more times must I tell you? You're missing a treat. This is delicious. Little jam tarts to follow. Aren't you tempted?
You and your fresh pots.
They tell me that fish is good for the brain.
Brains haven't any. You realize that a day, a whole day and a night have gone by since that festive affair in Edgware Road? I'm as much in the dark as ever. Hello, here comes a client, unless I'm very much mistaken.
Oh, attractive. Very attractive.
Obviously, she left home under the stress of some very great emotion.
How do you know that?
She isn't wearing any gloves. A startling omission in a young lady of fashion.
Oh, she didn't put her coat on. Open car, too.
Furthermore, there's something in that bag she wants to show me.
What makes you say that?
The bag doesn't match her dress, indicating it was picked for size rather than style, to accommodate some bulky object.
You amaze me, Holmes.
What do you mention, my dear fellow? Well, that's interesting.
What is?
The cab, turning at the empty house. Wonder why he followed her here.
Oh, wouldn't you?
Quite possibly with glasses. Oh, we shall soon know. Yes, Mrs. Hudson?
It's a young lady, sir. Most urgent.
Ask her to come in.
Go right in, miss.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes, this is my friend, Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
How do you do? Mr. Holmes, you must excuse me, please.
Yes, well, won't you sit down?
Come along.
May I? It's quite all right. Thank you. Now try to control yourself, Miss Fenwick. You're with friends.
You know my name?
No magic, I assure you. I've often seen your picture. You're the daughter of Sir George Fenwick, aren't you?
Yes. It's about my father that I...
What about your father, Miss Fenwick?
Oh, I don't know what to do. He's always been the nicest, dearest person. Only since Mother died.
Yes, Madame, we know.
So I didn't think anything of it when he was away all night before last. But he didn't come home until yesterday at tea time. Didn't come in for dinner at all. Just paced up and down in the library hour after hour. I begged him to let me in, but he wouldn't.
Steady, steady. Now take your time.
I couldn't sleep a wink last night. Then I started hearing things.
Hearing things? What sort of things?
I heard someone in the garden underneath my window. Then I saw a figure moving down the garden path. And I recognized my father. Stealing through his own garden like a thief. He had a spade in his hand. And he stopped by the greenhouse where he started to dig. This morning, at daybreak, I stole out into the garden and found this.
A finger. A human finger.
Bring up Scotland Yard, will you, Watson? Ask them to get hold of Inspector Gregson and tell him to meet us at once at George Fenwick's house, Kingston.
Operator, get me Scotland Yard quick.
Where's my father, Norris?
He's still in the library, miss.
Thank you. We'll see him right away. Will you come with me, please?
Thank you.
I got your message, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, indeed.
Dad, may I come in? Dad. Honey? He doesn't answer.
You mind?
Please do.
Thank you. Watson, quick.
Oh,
Come along,
no,
my dear.
no, no.
Take charge, Miss Fenwick, please. Now, miss, please. Please come along with me.
Dead?
Yes.
What do you make of it, Doctor?
Shot in the back, between the second and third ribs. The bullet undoubtedly had penetrated the heart. Look at the powder marks on his coat.
I'm afraid of this.
What do you mean?
Don't you remember the man in the cab who followed Miss Fenwick to Baker Street?
Well, you don't think he had anything to do with it, do
I
you?
think it's reasonable to assume that he tipped off someone that I've been sent for. George has obviously been murdered to keep him from telling me what he knew. What was the weapon used?
Small caliber revolver, point blank range, by the look of the wound.
The murderer came in through those French windows. The mud from the garden he brought in his boots. Sir George must have surprised the intruder. Passed the room to him here. The follows we can't tell, but from the location of the wound, I'd say that he turned his back for a moment, and as he turned, the muzzle of the revolver was placed between his ribs and one muffled shot fired.
And you mean to say he kept on going, even after he was shot?
There's no doubt about it. Look there. The trail of blood leads us back to the desk. Something Sir George was after. Something.
I know. He was trying to summon help, Butcher.
I don't think so, Watson. There's the bell pull by the fireplace. No, you'll notice from the trail of blood that Sir George made straight for this desk here. I wonder if there was something he was desperately anxious to get. Hello. His right hand's clenched.
Perfectly natural. Death agony.
The left hand lies open. Why only one hand clenched in the death agony? The right hand, the hand nearest the desk. Please note that. If Sir George took something off this desk, something so important that he spilled his last drop of blood to get it, I want to know what it is.
Nothing but an ordinary match folder.
Where does that lead us?
I imagine to something very important, Gregson. This match folder's from Pembroke House.
Why shouldn't it be? He was there, you know. We saw him yesterday.
Yes, but the effort he made after he was shot to get hold of this match folder. It's just possible he wanted someone to remember Pembroke House. He may have wished to recall it to someone who saw him there. Someone who, like ourselves, saw him with a woman.
Come in.
Oh, Dr. Watson, this came by hand for Mr. Holmes not 10 minutes ago.
Thank you, Mrs. Elson.
That would be the report from Mr. George's bank.
What from Sir George? Oh, really?
Don't you remember his daughter told us that he just closed his account? Had it looked into at once. He drew out his entire balance in cash, nearly £10,000, yesterday, just after that young woman was murdered. What does that suggest to you, Watson?
That he paid it out to someone.
Precisely. I smell the faint, sweet odor of blackmail.
You don't think he paid it out to someone who saw him murder the McLean woman?
Sir George never murdered anyone.
But he did have that woman's finger, and he empty did have and pay out a lot of cash.
That's the terrifying part about blackmail, Watson. The victim is afraid to fight the accusation no matter how false. Once the accusation is made, his name is smeared, and sometimes his life is ruined.
Well, Sir George didn't commit these murders. What fiend did?
I rather think they're not the work of any one man.
Oh, come, Holmes. You don't expect me to believe there's a whole organization going about killing people and chopping off their fingers?
That's possible, quite possible.
Well, whoever's behind all this thing must be out of his mind.
On the contrary, my dear fellow, if my assumptions are correct, this little scheme has behind it the most brilliant and ruthless intellect the world has ever known.
You don't mean Professor Moriarty?
I do.
Oh, steady, Holmes. You've got him on the brain. This is the third time in as many months you've suspected him of unsolved crimes. He's dead, you know.
Is he?
Is he? You know he is. He was hanged in Montevideo, well, over a year ago.
I know that someone was hanged in Montevideo under that name. But I'll stake my reputation that Moriarty is alive and here, now in London. Hello? Yes, Dr. Watson, wait a minute.
Me? Oh, yes? This is Dr. Watson speaking. No, I'm afraid I've retired. I don't practice anymore. What? Oh, that's a different thing. An emergency case. Well, just a minute. Yes? Yes, well, see that she's not moved. Remember that? Don't touch her till I get there. Fractured case in McCardle's Mews. Heavy woman. 14 stone. 14 stone. Just the sort of person who would hoist herself up on a stool to feed the canary. There ought to be a law against fat people. Keep it little dicky birds. Well, so long, old man. I shan't be very long. I haven't used that bag since I brought little Amelia, what's her name in the world? Grew up to be a very unattractive child. Oh, who wouldn't with a name like Amelia? What Amelia? Amelia. Stupid about it.
you, Professor Moriarty. Not that I wish to appear inquisitive, but to what am I indebted for the pleasure of this visit? Scotland Yard will be interested.
It's very convenient for me to have Scotland Yard think that I'm still dead in Montevideo. I never dreamed of fooling you.
Thank you.
The thought occurs to me, Mr. Holmes, that there are some advantages in living within the law. You're very comfortably fixed here, aren't you? As I get on in life, the little comforts appeal to me more and more.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
And now, Professor Moriarty, what can I do for you?
Everything that I have to say to you has already crossed your mind.
And my answer has no doubt crossed yours.
Yes, final?
What do you think? I shall not rest until you are hanged for the finger murders.
You've no proof, you know.
No, not a shred. But I have you. I could turn you over to the police here and now.
You could. But if you did, you'd never see Dr. Watson again.
Oh, the telephone call.
Quite.
I rather assumed you had taken some such precaution. Or I should have snatched up a revolver and indulged in a fit of heroics when you came in.
Very smart, aren't you?
Not smart enough. Or I should have anticipated you. But if any harm comes to Dr. Watson, I shall seek you out. I shall not rest until I find you, and when I do...
No harm will come to Dr. Watson this time. But I can't answer for the future. Mr. Holmes, I should strongly advise you to drop this case.
Don't be silly.
Think it over. We've had many encounters in the past. You hope to place me on the gallows. I tell you, I shall never stand up on the gallows. But if you are instrumental in any way in bringing about my destruction, you will not be alive to enjoy your satisfaction.
We shall walk together through the gates of eternity, hand in hand.
What a charming picture that would make.
Yes, wouldn't it? You know, I really think it might be worth it.
Shoelaces, Governor? Tuppence a pair. And strong enough to hang yourself.
How many more times must I tell you I don't want your filthy shoelaces or your company?
Shoelaces, Governor?
Last impertinence. Run along, my good man, or I'll give you in charge.
Shoelaces, Governor? Shoelaces, Governor? Help a poor bloke. What's only got one arm? Any luck with Mr. Holmes?
You can read his obituary in tomorrow's papers.
Oh, there you are, Watson. Come in. I was, just going out to look for you.
Look for me, what for? Suppose you don't think I know my way about. Well, you're right, I don't. Blast all practical jokers anyhow. Know where I've been?
On a wild goose chase.
Exactly. There's no such number in McCardle's Muse. Some fool's idea of a joke.
Did you see anyone?
No, nobody especially. Only a whining old idiot selling bootlaces.
Assistant beggar, wasn't he? Stuck to you like grim death.
Huh? How do you know?
Finally left you for someone who looked like better pickings. Someone, my dear Watson, was Professor Moriarty himself.
What?
Just called on me.
Moriarty here and you let him go? But you must be out of your mind. Why?
Well, he bluffed me into believing that he was holding a friend of mine as hostage.
Friend of yours who?
Oh, nobody very important, just a fat, lazy fellow. Medical man, I believe.
Medical man? Do I know him?
Yes, I think you do. A fellow by the name of Watson.
Watson, never heard. Who, me?
I'm afraid so, old fellow. Your street hawker's job was to do away with you in a certain contingency.
And you let Moriarty go? Because of me?
I had no choice. I can't afford to lose you, old fellow.
Well, it's very decent of the old chap, I must say, but... well, I wish you'd nabbed him.
We shall, never fear. I know the motive for the finger murders. All I have to find out now is the method used with the blackmail victims.
Method?
Yes. How does Moriarty get them to the scene of the crime? How does he plant those severed fingers on them? And how does he scare them into believing that they may have committed those atrocious murders themselves? Curious. Very curious.
Huh? Curious? What's curious?
That window in the empty house across the street. First floor front.
Oh? What's wrong with it?
It's open.
Well, shouldn't it be open?
Well, it wasn't open half an hour ago. I'll stake my life on that.
Well, it's not our business. Let it stay open.
I wonder if you'd go over, old fellow, and see what's the matter.
Oh, trespassing. Against the law.
Oh, well, I'll go myself.
Oh, well, if you're going to put it like that, ridiculous waste of time. Think about shutting windows at this hour of the night.
Yeah, you'd better take this torch.
Oh, take what? Dignified job for a doctor. Dr. Watson, the torchbearer. And what do you propose to do? Sit in a comfortable chair, I suppose, and read a good book.
That's a very good idea.
Yes, very good idea. While I play night watchman, you have a nice read.
Mm-hmm. Good night. Have a good time.
Good time. What do you mean, have a good time? For? Oh, umbrella stand. Pretty little thing to keep about the house. Must have been a pet. Rat rubber. Oh. While he sits comfortably reading a book. He killed Holmes! He killed Sherlock!
Watson.
You? But I saw him shoot you a second ago.
Not me, my dear fellow. Merely the bust of Julius Caesar. Incidentally, you may have noticed that all through the ages, prominent men have prominent noses. Oh, I'm afraid we're in for terrible trouble again with Mrs. Hudson. Windows smashed, plaster all over the floor. Get up, you.
Corporal Williams, Middlesex Regiment. Discharged from the army as physically unfit. Papers seem in order.
Now, Corporal Williams, you've seen service in the Far East, haven't you?
The East?
I thought so. Look at his complexion, Watson. Yellow as saffron. He's been taking atabrine. Cure for malaria. Sniper, aren't you?
Sniper.
Why did you try to kill me?
I had to kill him. I had to.
Oh, snap out of it.
Stop it, Watson.
He's shamming.
No, he isn't. Who told you to kill me?
She told me.
She told you?
She told me I couldn't miss.
Well, luckily you did miss, you murderer.
He isn't a murderer, Watson. Listen, Corporal Williams. She told you you had to do it, didn't she?
I had to do it.
I've got it, Watson, I've got it.
Got what?
The method used in the finger murders.
Well, what is it?
Hypnotism, my dear fellow. Hypnotism. And it wasn't against his nature. That's the devilish part of it. They picked a man for their purpose whose job was sniping.
Who are they?
Professor Moriarty and his finger murderers. Williams spoke of a woman. I think you'll find that she asked him home tonight for a drink. Nice quiet rooms, soft lights, music.
You've got it all pat, Mr. Holmes. What's the lady look like?
Up 30, nice figure, blonde, lustrous eyes.
Really? Got a phone number?
Williams will give us her address. Look after him, Gregson. Don't let anyone come near him. He's our key witness in the finger murders.
Well, I hope you're guessing right, Mr. Holmes.
Get up, Williams. Now, go with Inspector Gregson anywhere he tells you.
Come on.
Yeah. Ring me as soon as he comes to himself, will you?
I will. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night.
Well, if you believe that fellow Williams was hypnotized, I suppose you think Sir George Fenwick was hypnotized, too.
I'm quite sure of it. Have a cup of tea?
Thanks, old boy. Nothing to eat. Well, why didn't these people make Sir George do the murder himself?
Because they didn't want to get him hanged. They wanted to blackmail him.
Well, who do you think the actual murderer is?
One of Moriarty's gang. A diabolically simple technique. Kill a woman.
Yes. But why cut off the fingers?
My dear fellow, don't you understand? The severed finger is what links the blackmail victim to the murder. He wakes, finds the grisly thing in his pocket. Doesn't know how it got there. He's no idea that he's been hypnotized. For all he knows, he may have committed the atrocious crime during some dreadful lapse of sanity.
In that state, when he's utterly demoralized, the blackmailers take over. Is that it?
Undoubtedly. You see, they swear that they saw him commit the murder. And being human, the victim will pay anything rather than stand trial on a charge that will make his very name loathsome.
Well, it all fits in if you believe in hypnotism.
The only possible explanation.
You think the hypnotist is that woman with the blonde hair and the lustrous eyes, the woman you invented?
I didn't invent her. I saw her.
What are you talking about?
That woman, my dear Watson, was with Sir George when he left Pembroke House. I saw her there. I shall see her again, and Williams will lead me to her. That's why it's so important to keep him safe. He will identify her. Well, yes? Inspector Gregson? What? Well, get every constable in the district. Yes, I'll be over at once.
What's happened, Holmes?
Williams is missing.
Great Scott!
Come on. Lorry crashed into Gregson's car. During the confusion, Williams disappeared.
Escaped, eh?
No, kidnapped. To keep him from talking when he came to.
You don't think that Moriarty...
Moriarty? Anything is possible.
Williams!
Dead. You see? Anything is possible.
Oh, good morning, Professor Moriarty. You startled me. I'm dressing another darling, a dear little nurse. Is there anything wrong with your finger?
Just a splinter.
Nasty thing, splinters. Most trying. One can't be too careful, but I'll get it out for you. I have the very instrument to help you. Sharp enough to split a hair.
Put those tools away until they're needed.
But they're not tools, sir. They're instruments.
Put them away. Is Lydia in?
Yes. But really, you should let me.
Get dressed.
Holmes and Watson just left Baker Street for the Mesmer Club.
Mesmer Club, the meeting place of all the top hypnotists in London. Do you suppose that Mr. Holmes is onto our method?
If he suspects, it's merely a suspicion. It's our business to see that it ends there.
I hope you're right.
Williams passed away before he could talk, remember?
What do you want me to do?
Go to the Mesmer Club, meet Holmes, and induce him to come back here.
Isn't that a bit dangerous?
Every meeting with Sherlock Holmes is potentially dangerous. However, you say he didn't see your face at Pembroke House.
And how would you suggest I get Mr. Holmes to accompany me here? Kidnap him?
Oh, no. Holmes has one weakness, his insatiable curiosity. If you can arouse that, you can lead him anywhere. It's up to you to take advantage of any opportunity that may arise.
This way, please, gentlemen. I'll tell Dr. Onslow that you're here.
Thank you.
And this is the Mesmer Club. If you ask me, hypnotism is a lot of mumbo-jumbo.
Oh, come now, Watson. As a medical man, you must admit that hypnotism has its place in modern science.
That may be, but 90% of hypnotists are crooks of the worst kind. Nothing more than a lot of charlatans exploiting weak-willed morons.
Ah, Dr. Onslow, I believe.
Happy to meet you, Mr. Holmes. Your brother Mycroft suggested I might be of help to you. He's a valued member of our little group of charlatans and crooks.
Beg your pardon, sir. I didn't know you were listening. Behind the curtain.
My friend, Dr. Watson.
Oh, delighted.
Oh, good.
I wonder now. You see, we're in the midst of a little experimental session at this very moment. If you'd care to join us.
Certainly,
That'd be very instructive.
Oh, well, will you follow me?
Thank you.
In treating his patients. But today, the therapeutic value of hypnotism, as we now call it, is conceded by innumerable physicians. Especially is its value in surgical cases where the administration of local or of general anesthetic is inadvisable.
Inadvisable poppycock.
For the sake of latecomers, I may say that I have placed this subject under profound hypnosis. In this condition, he can feel no pain, even under applications which normally would be excruciating.
Excruciating?
You excuse me, please.
Carter, you are having a peaceful sleep. You feel nothing. Your arms and your hands are without sensation. Mowbray, the long needle. Carter, give me your right hand. As you observe, the needle has been thrust completely through the subject's hand. No feeling, no pain. This lack of feeling is the one infallible test of profound hypnosis.
Nonsense. Fellow's full of drugs. Well, isn't he?
Definitely not, Doctor.
Wake up, Carter, wake up. You feel well and rested, remember. No pain anywhere. Wake up, wake up.
I say, when are you going to begin?
All through, Carter. Stand up.
This way, sir.
And, are these all the people that come here?
Oh, no. Others keep dropping in all the time.
I suppose it's all right for those who believe in it, but of course, I'm a professional man myself.
Then you don't believe in hypnotism, Dr. Watson?
I don't deny that there are certain types of hysterical, feeble-minded people who go under if you point your finger at them. But anyone with an ounce of character...
How right you are. You see right through our little artifices, don't you, Doctor?
Right through, my dear sir. Right through.
Right so. But with the feeble-minded, as you say... excuse us, Mr. Holmes.
Certainly.
Step over here, won't you?
Certainly, sir. Anything to oblige.
Let me show you how easily we charlatans take advantage of them. Now, sit down, Doctor. Now, we set a thing like this in motion. It's wonderful, the attraction on the feeble-minded, of course. The continuous motion, if they just let themselves follow it. Of course, you could stare at it till doomsday, Dr. Watson, with no effect at all.
still, it might make you a little drowsy, like the white ribbon of road at night when you're driving. The rhythm is smooth, unbroken, and the road goes on and on, round and round, always the same, winding and winding. And you're drowsy, you're tired. Let the road come into you, as it were. The long road, the smooth road, the road to sleep. Sleep. Open your eyes. Stand up. Turn around. And now, Dr. Watson, you're on a holiday in Scotland. The country is amazingly beautiful. We're coming to a stream. It isn't deep. Better take your shoes and socks off. Roll up your trouser. That will do. The other leg is waterproof. Turn around. Mind the pedals. Sit down. Wake up now.
There, I see. What did I tell you? It didn't work with me. Why, nobody with an ounce of character.
I think you'll need these.
Going to Alfred?
Watson, she's here.
Oh, woman you're looking for?
Yes, I'm going to meet her. Perhaps I can induce her to take me to Moriarty.
Do you think it's wise, Holmes?
It may not be wise, but it's essential. After all, I've held my own with Moriarty in the past.
But isn't it dangerous? She might be a hypnotist.
My will isn't stronger than hers. I deserve to be hypnotized.
I feel I must protest, Dr. Onslow. I was told this was a gathering of serious students of a great science, and I find myself in a company of buffoons.
Oh, my dear madam.
Elliots and Esdale brave. Were those men martyrs for the truth? That you may laugh over your childish, cruel tricks?
I must say I'm in complete agreement with you, madam. This was a most unnecessary performance, Dr. Onslow.
Beg your pardon, sir.
My name is Holmes, Sherlock Holmes. At your service, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. I'm afraid I've created a rather embarrassing situation. But you see, I'm interested in the serious study of hypnotism.
So am I, too.
Perhaps we have something in common, Mr. Holmes.
Perhaps we have. Would you join me for a cocktail at Pembroke House?
I should be delighted.
Good. Thank you.
I didn't know there was such a pleasant place in London. It was so nice of you to suggest our coming here.
I thought a little pick-me-up would do us good.
You mean you thought I looked...
I like the way you look.
Thank you. I suppose I did lose my head a little at the Mesmer Club. But you see, hypnotism is almost a religion with me. I know so well what it can do to help, heal. And I can't bear to see it used for trivial purposes.
I know very little about it. That's why I went to the Mesmer Club. You see, I'm rather puzzled just now with the case that I'm working on.
How fascinating. Tell me about it.
The murder of Sir George Fenwick.
Fenwick? Who's he?
Quite a well-known figure. Odd now I come to think of it. Last time I saw Sir George was here at Pembroke House.
Strange.
Yes, isn't it? He was sitting, I believe he was sitting at this very table. Cigarette?
Thanks. Do go on.
There was a charming lady with him. He was lighting a cigarette.
Charming. Did you see her face?
No, worse not. Merely her back.
How unenterprising of you.
Yes, wasn't it? Afraid I'm getting a little older.
I shouldn't say so.
That's nice of you. Still, the first time in my life, I've got hold of a case that's beyond me. I'm actually losing sleep over it.
You know, Mr. Holmes, I believe I could help you.
Really? I should be very grateful.
You're amused.
Yeah. Really skeptical. How would you go about it?
I've used hypnotism more than once in healing. Not for profit. I'm not a professional. But I do think I could help you. If you care to...
I can't think of a pleasanter experience.
Low light, music, is that all there is to it?
You must relax, Mr. Holmes. I'm afraid you're a rather difficult subject. So I thought perhaps a little help. Materia medica might be advisable.
Drugs? No, I'd rather not, if you don't mind.
As a matter of fact, I'd rather not myself. But Schrenknoffen, he practiced in Munich, you know. Believed it the best means for difficult subjects. Do you mind?
Well, as a matter of fact, I don't approve of sedatives.
Just as you wish. We don't have to go on with this at all, you know.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. All right. I'll take a chance.
It's really quite harmless.
What is it?
Cannabis japonica, an oriental soporific. You'll need water.
Thank you.
Now sit down, Mr. Holmes. You'll feel yourself growing drowsy. Don't fight it. Give in to it. Because you do want to sleep, you know. Just fix your eyes on this one white flower, floating on the water. Empty your mind of every other thought. Follow the motion of the water. So smooth. Not a ripple. Waters of forgetfulness. Steady. Deep. Strong. Strange, isn't it? How the light is reflected. Little specks of light that move and move. It's restful here. It's peaceful. It's friendly. And you're very close to finding what you're looking for. You'll find them soon now. The guilty ones. When you're rested, gentle waters closing over you. Steady, deep, strong, drawing you down, down, down. Sleep. Sleep. Sleep.
Here he is, Professor Moriarty. Stand up, Mr. Holmes. Open your eyes. Face this way. Are you satisfied?
We are dealing with a clever man. He may be shamming. There's just one infallible test for profound hypnosis. You ready, Dr. Simnel? That will do, Doctor. He couldn't fake insensibility to the knife. I congratulate you, Lydia. Turn round, Mr. Holmes. Now walk to the desk. Sit down. Take that pen and write what I tell you to write. I have at last found a case which I cannot solve. I have outlived my usefulness. Therefore, I have decided to end my life. Sign your name. Now blot it. Fold it up and put it in your pocket. Come, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Go out onto the terrace.
But it won't look like suicide, sir.
I'm sorry, but Mr. Holmes' injuries must all be self-inflicted. Let's walk a little, Mr. Holmes. It's so pleasant here in the garden. Just step up here onto the terrace. It's a nice, broad terrace. Now turn to the left. Walk slowly to the end of the terrace. Don't stop. You must walk to the end, you know. The end leads to an open doorway. You can pass through it in perfect safety. In the room beyond the doorway, you'll find what you've been looking for.
Must you drag this on?
This is the moment I've been anticipating for a long time, my dear. Go on, Mr. Holmes. Through the open doorway, you will find the man responsible for the finger murders and the death of Sir George Fenning. Professor Moriarty.
Holmes! Stand still!
What a beautiful view, Watson. I'm quite enjoying it.
No, you're not. You're hypnotized. You're under a spell. Stand still. Don't move. Steady, Holmes. Steady does it. Stand perfectly still where you are.
Nonsense, Watson.
You don't know what you're doing.
Of course I know what I'm doing.
You mean you're not hypnotized?
Certainly not.
Then get off the wall, you idiot. Oh, look out! What were you doing up there?
Holding the fort until you arrived. What kept you?
Oh, I ran into a spot of trouble on my way to Scotland Yard. I was arrested for exceeding the speed limit.
Your luck seems to hold, Mr. Holmes.
I'd hardly call it luck, Professor. You see, I substituted a drug of my own for the one that this dear lady pressed on me.
You are clever, aren't you?
A drug that, although it leaves the subject conscious, renders him quite insensitive to pain. That accounted for my lack of reaction to Dr. Simnel's knife. Well, Gregson, quite an impressive haul. Even Inspector Lestrade himself couldn't have done any better.
Thanks, Mr. Holmes.
Take him away.
All right, put her in the van.
I was right, Mr. Holmes. You are a difficult subject.
Thank you. And now, Professor, our score is settled. Au revoir until I see you on the gallows.
The rope has not been made that'll go around my neck.
Come on.
I'll take care of things, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, Inspector.
Come on.
An evil man, Holmes, but what a horrible death.
Better than he deserved.
What are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of all the women who can come and go in safety in the streets of London tonight. The stars keep watch in the heavens. And in our own little way, we too, old friend, are privileged to watch over our city.
You gentlemen look like educated men of good taste. I have here some rare old first editions.
Si le vieux vous embête. He's not bothering us. I'm interested in his books. Light beer. Oui, monsieur.
Now here are the complete works of Wilhelm Shakespeare, an old German writer. We move tonight. Orders from Berlin. Dr. Tobel is to be across the border before dawn.
But we have had orders not to break into his house, and he hides there. Hasn't been outside in weeks.
The Fuhrer wants no trouble with Switzerland at the moment. We must be very careful.
If we can't break in, and he won't come out?
When the Fuhrer needs something as badly as he needs the Tobel bomb site, there is always a way. Dr. Tobel is interested in my scientific volumes. He's seen my forged Swiss papers, and he believes I come from Lucerne. No, gentlemen, the price is much too low. I could not possibly sell so rare a book for such a price. I will induce Dr. Tobel to come on a visit to my shop as we pass the alleyway. You are interested in this book? A rare old set of Bismarck papers. One last warning. I've just had word from Berlin. The English swinehunter will try to take Dr. Tobel from under our very eyes. They are sending a stupid, bungling amateur detective. His name is Holmes, or some such foolishness.
He will never escape from Switzerland alive.
Now, quick. Have me thrown out of here. And watch for my signal from Dr. Tobel's window. But, gentlemen, you promised to buy one of my books.
I told you no.
Stop bothering us.
They are not so great. The price is...
Allez, vieux, sors d'ici, c'est des fusils, on va pas embêter les clients. Prends-les. Prends ton chapeau.
Je crois pour mes livres.
Prends les hautes parts.
Je ne veux pas aller à car.
Allez, sors. Reviens plus, hein. En fait, les clients, mais c'est le cochon. French, English. How are
those languages.
Calm yourself, my dear Brown. In a short time, there will be only one language.
Good evening, Dr. Tobel. I have here some very interesting scientific books. I thought you might like to see them.
Please come in. He's entering the house. Quickly, get the car and have the motor running. I will follow. Herr X will have the Tobel bomb sighted at the Fuhrer while this Holmes is still having his tea. Now.
What are you doing? I am sorry. But for months, every move I have made has been watched. I am not a coward, Mr. Holmes. They won't watch you anymore. Tonight, they intend to take you forcibly across the German border. Then why do we wait here, doing nothing, like rats in a trap? Calm yourself, my dear Dr. Tobel. We shall not only escape their trap, but we shall also take the cheese away with us. But how? The 4 sections of your bomb sight fit inside these ponderous tomes. Although I must confess that I shied at the thought of disemboweling a complete set of Charles Dickens. Oh, but you cannot hide me in a hollow book. My dear fellow, I'm sorry that my good friend Dr. Watson isn't here to explain to you that my preparations are never slipshod. Stefan, Eric, why do you call my servants? Your servants, yes, but tonight they assume new roles. Let me present Dr. Tobel and our old friend, the bookseller. Holmes, it is so simple. Yes, the obvious always appears simple. Quick now, we must leave. Stefan, the knapsack. Eric are proving excellent decoys.
And the Gestapo has been fooled?
Completely. Their servants are leading them into the next street.
But what will happen to Stefan and Eric?
Nothing, don't worry. I've taken care of that. The way is clear. Come on, quick. Take the Nazis' own car. One must adapt oneself to the tools at hand. You think you made them believe you're a harmless old bookseller? Yes, I've always felt that a thorough knowledge of the classics might come in handy. But how can we get across the border? And through France. There's no need to get across. This very moment, a Royal Air Force plane is waiting for us at a secret landing place. How long before we arrive in London?
In a very few minutes. We're passing over Dover now.
Thank you. You'll have to get used to our London blackouts, Dr. Tobel. Dr. Watson's. Very untidy fellow.
What are we going to do with these?
A problem of the most elementary nature, my dear Dr. Tobel.
You are going to keep them here?
I have always believed in the theory, originally projected by Edgar Allan Poe, the American writer, that the best place to hide anything is where everyone can see it.
Yes, but...
You will remember, no doubt, in Poe's story, The Purloined Letter. The missive in question was always in plain view.
Hands up, gentlemen. Scotland Yard, quick.
Oh, my goodness.
Good evening, Mrs. Hudson.
Oh, why, it's Mr. Holmes.
Holmes?
Hello, Watson, old fellow. It's good to see you again. Telephone.
Hello? Who do you want? Oh, yes, you're Scotland Yard. I'm afraid there's been a little mistake. Well, you needn't get angry. We all make mistakes at times. What? Well, if we didn't, you'd be out of a job.
Dr. Tobel, this is my friend and associate, and as you may have observed, my watchdog, Dr. Watson.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do? Dr. Tobel and I flew in from Zurich this evening. You can put that thing away now, Watson.
Dr. Tobel, awarded the Massingham Bequest for physics in 1939.
My dear Watson, there is only one Dr. Tobel.
Without Mr. Holmes, there would have been no Dr. Tobel, I am afraid.
But I thought you were living in America, sir.
I have been working in Switzerland for the past 2 years.
And Holmes got you out?
In the nick of time. There was not a point he overlooked. Every contingency was foreseen and provided for. It was magnificent.
Thank you, Doctor. The problem is not without its interesting points.
Is there anything you would like, Mr. Holmes?
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Hudson. You can go to bed now.
You gave me an awful fright dressed up like that. Well, good night, sir.
He's quite right. You can't blame me for jumping to the conclusion that I did. He looked like a broken-down musician. Holmes, why didn't you take your fiddle with you? I never did think much of this dressing-up business.
It was necessary, I assure you. The Gestapo was close on our heels.
Really?
This is Sherlock Holmes. I want to speak to Sir Reginald Bailey, please.
Reginald Bailey? Is that the fellow who played Rugger for Blackheath?
Yes, Watson.
Oh.
Hello, Sir Reginald. Holmes speaking. Yes, from Baker Street. I have Dr. Tobel with me. Oh, thank you. Very well, then. I'll meet you in half an hour. There must be no delay. I'll arrange with Sir Reginald to have the test tomorrow morning.
I suggest that only cabinet ministers and your best aviation experts be present.
Naturally. Watson, I leave Dr. Tobel in your care. Give him a sedative. This has been a strenuous business, and he has a long day ahead of him again tomorrow.
Certainly, Holmes, of course. He shall sleep in my bedroom. I'll keep watch till you return.
Thank you.
It is not necessary to guard me. I am quite safe now.
Safe, Dr. Tobel? I shouldn't count on it for a second.
But, Mr. Holmes...
A great deal may depend on your safety. And the enemy understands that just as well as we do. Good night. Keep alert, Watson.
Yes, of course. A couple of these, and you'll sleep peacefully through a blitz.
Thank you.
You better start undressing at once, or you'll find yourself fast asleep in the middle of taking off your trousers. Well, I'll sit over here and keep an eye on things. Oh, by the way, if you're nervous, call out.
Good night, Doctor.
Good night, Doctor. So funny. Both saying the same thing at the same time. Good night, Doctor.
Good night, Doctor.
Hello, sir. Untidy fellow, Holmes.
I just arrived about an hour ago. It is most important that I see you at once. No, I cannot explain. It is now 5 minutes past midnight. I leave at once. Goodbye.
Holmes, I don't have to tell you how much this means to us.
We shall know a great deal more about the bomb site after the demonstration, Sir Reginald.
The War Office have a pretty good idea of the value of the Tobel bomb site, just as the Nazis have. However, if you'd care to place Dr. Tobel under the protection of Scotland Yard until tomorrow...
No, that won't be necessary. I shall personally deliver Dr. Tobel to your representatives on Salisbury Plain in plenty of time for the demonstration.
Thank you.
Good night, Sir Reginald.
Good night, Mr. Holmes.
Flat B. Right. Get the car ready. I'll wait here until he comes out.
Is that what the Americans call doodling?
It is more serious than you could possibly realize, Charlotte. Good.
More coffee?
No, thank you, darling. I must get back before they miss me.
We've been separated for so long. I couldn't bear it if anything should part us again. I want to work with you, and I want to know every minute where you are.
Even for you to know the details of my mission in London is to sign your death warrant.
If you're in real danger, I want to share it.
There is one thing you can do. Guard this envelope. If anything happens to me, see that it reaches the hands of Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
Yes.
I pray I never have to deliver it.
He got away. Are you all right, sir?
I think so. Must have been a robber.
Since the blackout, those biters become quite a nuisance, sir. I say, you better come with me and have that fixed up.
Thank you.
Just lean on my arm, that's it.
Watson, wake up!
Huh?
Where's Tobel?
He's in there.
No, he isn't. He's gone.
That's impossible. He's asleep in my bed. I've been here all the time.
If anything's happened to him... Tobel! All right? Nah, it is nothing.
Yeah, sit down here.
Let's have a look. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. Who patched you up? The police doctor?
Yes.
You look as if you'd been attacked.
Obviously, my dear Watson. Dr. Tobel,
Do you suspect the woman of arranging the trap?
Woman? What woman?
She's blonde, 5'6", full-lipped, and very affectionate.
Oh, really?
You've known her for a long time. You were attacked after leaving her apartment.
Holmes, how do you know this?
The face powder on your coat tells me of her height and her affection for you. You held her close before departing.
Steady, Holmes.
It's all there for the trained eye to read, Watson.
But look here, why couldn't he have been attacked on his way to the woman's apartment?
The mark of a blow has erased some of the powder. Obviously, if the attack came first, the powder would have remained undisturbed.
And the full lips? That was a guess.
I never guess, Watson. You have rubbed the lipstick from your face with the handkerchief you now hold in your hand. And that amount of lipstick never came from a pair of thin lips.
And the blonde hair? Good gracious me.
Mr. Holmes, I am glad you are on my side.
Well, in that case, you will desist from disobeying my orders and slipping out, while your bodyguard sleeps his watch away.
It won't happen again, Holmes. I was sitting in front of the fire.
All right, all right.
I'm sorry.
Now, can you describe your assailant?
I never saw him. A great figure came at me in the dark. I felt a stunning blow on my head, and instantly fingers were at my throat.
But you must have noticed something about him. Think, man. A thing of little consequence to you may mean a great deal to me.
Wait a moment. There was one thing. Long fingers at my throat like steel. And then an odor, a heavy, drug-like odor.
A drug? Opium?
That is it. I am sure of it now.
Well, I suggest we get the remains of a good night's sleep. Remember, the test takes place tomorrow morning on Salisbury Plain.
The principle of Dr. Tobel's device involves the use of 3 sonic beams. Is that right, sir?
That appears to be it.
There he is.
We're on the course now, sir.
Gentlemen, that load would sink any ship in the world.
We must consider the possibility of good piloting and a lucky hit. I'd like to see another try of it.
So would I.
They want you to try again, sir.
He is coming into position now, sir.
We're on the course now, sir.
Gentlemen, how do you like the bomb sight now?
Marvelous. We'll revolutionize aerial bombardment.
Inspector Lestrade.
Yes, Sir Reginald?
I hope Scotland Yard is taking every precaution to guard Dr. Tobel and his equipment.
2 plainclothesmen ride with him in his car, sir, and 4 others follow in another one, sir.
Good. He's coming to my office in Whitehall as soon as he lands. Shall we start, gentlemen?
Yes.
Gentlemen.
Congratulations, sir. It was excellent. Amazing performance.
It was magnificent, Dr. Tobel. Magnificent.
I am glad we had such ideal conditions for the test.
I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it myself.
We've been through a lot, Holmes, but thank goodness he's safe now.
You brought your apparatus with you?
No, Sir Reginald. I did not. But why not? It must be lodged in the most impregnable vault in this building until we're ready to start manufacture.
I have arranged for a little office of my own. I intend to supervise the manufacture myself.
But you offered it to our government for our use. Everything Mr. Holmes has done has been with that idea in view.
I still offer it to your government, but no one else will know the secrets involved. I have devised a plan to guard my invention. A plan as intricate as the bomb site itself.
If you imagine for one moment...
Please. I will not change my mind, Sir Reginald. I am taking the matter into my own hands.
Just what do you propose to do, Dr. Tobel?
I am sorry. I cannot reveal the details of my plan for the present.
Do you think that's wise?
I regret, gentlemen, I cannot change my decision. I shall work independently.
Can't you persuade him, Holmes?
But supposing something should happen to you, Dr. Tobel. You know, there's already been one attempt on your life.
And if Holmes' suspicions are right...
What, Watson? There is no use discussing it, gentlemen. My mind is made up.
Scotland Yard will redouble the guard about you, Doctor. In fact, we'll quadruple it.
That is just what I do not wish done, Inspector.
Huh?
That would only draw attention to my activities.
Oh.
Good day, gentlemen.
Just the same, I'll have my men watching him every moment from now on.
No, wait, Lestrade. We must not offend Dr. Tobel. We must remember that he, as a citizen of Switzerland, is under no obligation to give us his invention. We must do as he asks. Don't you agree, Holmes?
To be sure, Sir Reginald. I'm not officially connected with the government, and I intend to remain on the case.
Good.
That is, if Inspector Lestrade doesn't mind.
Not at all, Mr. Holmes. We're always glad to have you hanging around.
Thank you.
You can put those away now, Lestrade.
Partner, I am entrusting this to you because, first of all, you are a Swiss. And second, there is no doubt in my mind of your ability.
I'm honored, Dr. Tobel.
I have divided the mechanism of my invention into 4 units. Each is meaningless without the others.
You have delivered the other 3?
Yes. No one but myself knows the identity of the 4 scientists working on the 4 units. Their names are not even known to each other.
I think I understand. From what you tell me, it will be easy to reproduce the unit assigned to me in any quantity you wish.
I knew I could rely on you. I will get in touch with you as soon as I have made the rest of my arrangements. No. The back door, if you please, Professor Hoffner.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Hello? Yes, Lestrade? Oh. Very well.
What is it, Holmes?
Just as I feared. Lestrade's men report that Tobel is missing.
Missing?
Gone. Yes, I was afraid of this.
How long has he been missing?
Practically since he walked out of your office yesterday. If you'd only given me the address of this place, I shouldn't have had to waste so much time finding it.
Empty. The bomb site's gone.
I didn't expect to find it here, Sir Reginald.
This is a pretty mess. If you knew this was going to happen, why the devil didn't you do something about it?
You can rely on Holmes implicitly, Sir Reginald.
Tobel's gone, and heaven alone knows where. Well, it serves me right for listening to that crack-brained idea of his. He dismissed Lestrade's men, and they went, leaving him here alone and unguarded. Holmes, if anything has happened to Tobel, if his invention falls into the hands of Germany, it will be a major disaster for England.
Christmas wrapping. He did his Christmas shopping in plenty of time.
Yes, curious.
Do you notice anything, Holmes? Scent. Perfume.
Yes, I noticed it the moment we entered the room. Clair de Lune. One of the rarer essences, and very expensive.
That woman again.
Undoubtedly. Give me Inspector Lestrade. Sherlock Holmes calling.
So Holmes is finally stumped. First time I've heard him call for help.
Call for help, indeed. He's only just beginning his investigation.
Lestrade, this is Holmes. Check the records and trace a call made on my private telephone at Baker Street at approximately 12 o'clock on the night of Dr. Tobel's arrival in London.
Finally stumped, eh, Sir Reginald?
Yes, Lestrade? Wait a minute. Charlotte, Aberley, 34, St. George's Street, flat B. Excellent, Lestrade. Thank you. Where is Dr. Tobel?
I can't tell you.
You mean you won't tell me?
I don't know.
How many Christmas packages did you take to him, Miss Aberley?
5.
He dismantled his bomb site and packed the units in 4 other boxes. Is that correct?
Pardon me. Hello? Yes? This is Miss Aberley. Why, someone must have stolen it. On Richmond Bypass. Yes. Yes, I'll arrange to have it removed. Yes, at once. Now I can be frank with you, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Tobel has disappeared. They found my car on Richmond Bypass, wrecked. I loaned it to him last night.
For what purpose, Miss Aberley?
He wouldn't tell me. But he said that if anything should happen to him, I was to give you this.
Holmes? Then he must have expected something.
Yes. This envelope has been opened and resealed.
Oh, but that isn't possible. It hasn't been out of my hands.
We meet again, Mr. Holmes.
What?
Why, that's not the message. It isn't even the same paper. I saw Dr. Tobel draw little sets of figures.
What kind of figures?
Well, they looked like little dancing men.
Dancing men? That's curious.
Who's been in this apartment since Dr. Tobel entrusted that envelope to your care?
No one. I've had no visitors.
Think. Possibly a tradesman.
No. Only the one for a few minutes.
And that one?
A workman. He came to fix my light switch. He couldn't have possibly...
Did you send for him?
Why, no. My lights went out, and soon afterwards he knocked at my door and told me the porter had sent him up. That's where he worked. But he wasn't alone in this room more than 5 minutes. And he did fix the lights. They went on again.
The switch hasn't been touched. The paint still covers the screw heads. He simply threw the main switch in the basement, pretended to work on this one, and after a few moments, an accomplice threw the main switch back on.
But in those few minutes...
Did you get a look at his face?
No, only a glance. Now I realize he kept his face averted.
But he was a large man.
Yes, he was large.
His eyes heavy-lidded, a thin film over the pupils.
Van Holmes, you
I remember now. His eyes, they were like a snake's.
Miss Aberley, Dr. Tobel is being held by one of the most brilliant men in the history of crime. Come along, Watson. There isn't a moment to lose. Goodbye, Miss Aberley.
Oh, goodbye, Miss Aberley. I don't see why I'm not allowed to go with you.
You have your own mission, Watson.
Yes, to take a sealed note to Inspector Lestrade while you search Soho.
I shall not be searching for him. I shall permit him to find me in the character of a murderous Lascar once in his employ, and whom I may add is still in jail.
Yes, but after all these years...
Make no mistake, Watson. This is not a duel of intellects with a cruel but single-minded Gestapo killer. This is our greatest problem, with England as the stake, and our antagonist, Professor Moriarty.
We've got to beat him. Once he's behind bars, I think I shall entitle my memoirs of these adventures, The End of Moriarty.
An excellent title, Watson. But, we must arrange that it isn't Moriarty who's left to write the memoirs.
Huh?
Up she rises, up she rises early in the morning. Up she rises, up she rises, up she rises early in the morning. Up she rises, up she rises, up she rises early in the morning. Up she rises, up she rises.
Ram Singh. Ram Singh.
Uno Ram Singh.
I do. You blooming wharf rat. Been in jail, ain't you?
How you know?
I heard from the blighter what left you to swing instead of him. You know what I mean, matey.
I know. I'll have to kill him.
Would it be worth £10 to you?
You know where he lives?
For £10, I know.
Only got 2.
Goodbye, matey.
5.
£10 on nothing, you lying heathen.
You dirty thief.
Well, that ain't so much to ask for what you want to know.
You'll make good bargain.
That does it.
Well?
You remember Angel's Court?
Huh?
Then follow your nose through the alley till you come to Jack Brady's carpenter shop. He can tell you where the blighter is at this very moment.
You come too.
Me?
If you lie...
All right, mister, I'll come along with you. Easy, matey, easy. Follow me.
Please, Governor, I ain't had nothing to eat for 2 days. Please.
Go away.
Who's that?
Pegleg.
Who's this bloke?
He's a bloodthirsty heathen, but there's good money to spend for information.
What's he want to know?
He give me £5 to bring him to someone what could tell him the whereabouts of you know who.
You not tell me I cut 2 throat.
Cost you another £5.
£5 more, eh? You pay him.
Me?
Come on, you. Come on, pay him.
Right.
I'll tell you all right, I will. The truth, and that's a fact. The blighter's in Davy Jones's locker, a-feeding the fishes he is, deader than a blinking mackerel. Now, ain't that worth a £5?
I tell you he's alive.
And I say he's been dead these many years.
You lie!
Easy there, Jack Brady. I would say you were wrong and Mr. Sherlock Holmes was correct.
Good evening, Professor Moriarty.
Welcome, Holmes. My men have instructions to bring anybody here who inquires for me. They haggle while I watch. An admirable disguise, by the way. It fooled them completely. Of course, it didn't fool me.
I never intended that it should. I meant only that it should bring us face to face.
Just like old times, eh? A battle of wits, of superior intellects. I may say I've been expecting you since I made off with your precious Dr. Tobel.
And his code.
Ah, yes, and his code. But valuable as your doctor and his code are to my business, I think my main interest in this affair is the chance it gives me to battle with you again.
Moriarty, this is no simple crime that you contemplate. It's a staggering blow against your own country.
That doesn't concern me overly. I shall make greater profit from this affair than all my other adventures put together.
Then you refuse?
Oh, most assuredly. In fact, I intend to ensure the success of this venture tonight by liquidating you, Mr. Holmes. I think that is the American phrase.
Quite.
You, the one man intelligent enough to stand in my way.
A gun? Oh, come now. This is not the Professor Moriarty, the master criminal I once knew. A dock rat could do as much.
Did you think I was going to shoot you, Mr. Holmes? Oh, dear me, no. This is simply to prevent a troublesome scene. I expected you and made full arrangements. You see, my good Mr. Holmes, these shelves lift out. And you will rest somewhat uncomfortably in the false bottom of this sea chest. My sailor friend, Jack Brady, goes to sea immediately. Once out of sight of land, he pushes the chest overboard. Time up. Perhaps your good friend, Dr. Watson, can entitle this adventure The End of Sherlock Holmes.
He will be disappointed. He intended to call it The End of Professor Moriarty.
Hurry. Brilliant man, Sherlock Holmes. Too bad he was honest.
The one-legged man. He takes Mr. Holmes right to that carpenter shop. He knocks on the door, a man comes out, and in they go.
Well, thank you, George. We'll take over the watch.
Good night, Dr. Holmes.
Good night.
What does Mr. Holmes hope to accomplish by this masquerade?
He hopes to frighten Moriarty into rushing Tobel into another hiding place.
Moriarty's dead, I tell you. Look out. Over here, quick. Hey, just a minute.
Who's that?
What do you got there?
Who's asking?
Scotland Yard?
Scott. Half a mo, Governor. I'll show you me papers. That's it. There you are. There you are, Governor. I'm Jack Brady, ship's carpenter. Shipping out tonight in a convoy. Destination unknown. My pal here's helping me get my chest aboard.
Make them open, little Lestrade.
Yes, go on.
All right, Governor. See for yourself.
There's nothing here, Doctor. Just a couple of simple seafaring men. All right, get on with it.
Thank you, Governor.
Come on now. Easy does it, right? Good night, your lordships.
Told you it was a lot of nonsense.
I don't understand. That thing was way a ton. Look at those men staggering.
You hit on something, Doctor. A few tools wouldn't take that much energy.
We've just looked inside.
On the top only, there might be a false bottom. Hey, you stop there! Stop or I'll shoot!
Great Scott, Holmes!
Well, I'll be blowed.
You're not hurt?
No. Well, you needn't have yelled at them so abruptly.
Huh?
They dropped me on my head.
Oh.
Moriarty would have been delighted.
So Professor Moriarty is alive?
Alive and in possession of Dr. Tobel's code. No good going back. They've all gone.
And what are you going to do?
Well, first I'm going to wash this filthy stuff off my face. Then I'm going to see Miss Eberly again. I've got to find some clue to the content of Dr. Tobel's message. Come along, quick.
I only got one glimpse of the note while he was preparing it.
He was seated at this desk.
No, he was sitting on the couch when he wrote the message, but he sealed the envelope here.
The message was written in ink with this pen?
No, he used a pencil. This one.
Thank you. You used this writing pad?
Yes.
Has it been used since?
No.
They should be here. They must be here.
What, Mr. Holmes?
The lead in this pencil is hard. Hard enough to make an impression on the coarse fibers of which this paper is made. The impressions at the moment are invisible. If we immerse this sheet in a solution of fluorescent salts, dry it, and then photograph it by ultraviolet light, The fibers broken by the writing will absorb less of the solution than other parts of the paper. Switch off the lights, Watson. We place the slide in the projector and turn on the light. The broken fibers appear darker than the rest of the paper and are therefore visible.
Splendid, Holmes. Now I recognize that code. Do you remember a case we had some years ago? It's probably the same, alphabet substitution code.
Yes, Watson. I believe Dr. Tobel meant to communicate with us by that means.
Substitution of the alphabet? I don't understand.
My dear, one of the oldest codes in use is based on the repetition of figures. E is the letter most used in the British language. Therefore, the figure most used, probably, in this message is E. T, A, O, I, and N follow in that order of frequency.
You mean you can read these figures as if they were letters of the alphabet?
Elementary, my dear Miss Abler. Give me 1 minute, and you shall have the message.
And what is the message, Watson?
This fellow Tobel must have been pulling our legs. It's a lot of gibberish. I-Y-Z-L-M-T-H-K. Reads like an eye doctor's chart.
Dr. Tobel is a brilliant scientist. I saw immediately that he wouldn't send us a message so simple to decipher. Neither would he affix these top figures without a meaning.
Then it isn't the alphabet substitution code.
Yes, it is, Watson, but with a very clever variation. You see, the 1, 2, 3 figures means that we skip letters in that order. In other words, observe, Watson. The first letter, which is I, skips 1 and becomes J. The second letter, Y, skips 2 and becomes A. And the third skips 3 and becomes C.
J-A-C.
J-A-C-O-B-D-U-R-R-E-R.
Jacob Dewar, a Swiss scientist and friend of Dr. Tobel's.
P-A-L-A-C-E-C-R-E-S.
Paris Crescent.
Right.
I say, Holmes, this man Dora must be important.
Obviously, Watson. He must have some connection with the bomb site, or Tobel wouldn't have taken so much trouble to see that I got his name. Take down the rest of the message. J-O-S-E-P-H, Joseph.
E-M-D-D-I-A-C. Number 4 doesn't make any sense. He must have used some other variations.
4 names and addresses. Jacob Dura, Professor Farrell, Dr. Kern. And this 4th infernal cipher, which doesn't fit the code. Christmas boxes. Watson, I'm beginning to see the plan. Dr. Tobel divided his bomb site into 4 parts, just as we brought it back from Switzerland. He's given 1 section of the mechanism to each of these famous scientists. What a fascinating plan. You see, each part is useless without the other 3, and undoubtedly, none of these scientists is known to each other. Professor Moriarty also has the code, and we must allow for his ability to decipher it. We haven't time to break the 4th code now. We must get to the first 3 men before Moriarty does.
Paris Crescent first?
Right.
I'll go and get a taxi.
Miss Everly, will you please wait here till we return? Thank you.
Here, where are you going, sir?
Jacob Dura live here?
Yes, but there's been a bit of trouble, sir. You can't go in. Inspector Lestrade's orders.
Oh.
Here, just a minute, sir.
That's Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, very sorry, sir.
Dead as a doornail. Mr. Holmes, how did you know about this? The yard only heard 15 minutes ago.
We better hurry, Holmes. There's still time to save Farrell and Kern.
Too late, Watson. By this time, Farrell and Kern are dead, too.
What? Deductions again, Mr. Holmes?
Facts, Inspector.
Oh, facts.
But how do you know about them?
Elementary, my dear Watson. This man has been dead for at least 2 hours. Moriarty isn't wasting any time.
Hello? This is Lestrade. Put me on to McAtee. Well, McAtee? This is Lestrade. Do you know anything about 2 men named...
Farrell and Kern.
Farrell and Kern? What, both of them? Oh. Thank you. Report only came in 2 seconds before I telephoned.
What on earth are we going to do, Holmes? Moriarty's got a big start and he's got the code. Note this, Watson. Scotland Yard reports 2 murders. That makes 3 in all. But there were 4 boxes and 4 codes. Obviously, Moriarty hasn't broken the 4th code either.
What is the name of the 4th man?
I can't remember.
What is the name of the 4th man?
I have forgotten.
What is the name of the 4th man?
I don't know. I don't know.
What is the name of the 4th man?
I can't remember.
Fourth man. What is the name of the 4th man?
What is the name of the 4th man?
Holmes, don't you realize what this means to England? We not only lose the Tobel bomb site ourselves, but Germany gets it. Coventry, Bath, Plymouth, London.
Not to mention Norwich and Hull.
All over again, but with 10 times the effect.
Don't you suppose I realize that's Reginald? Don't you suppose I'd give my life to decode the last name of that message?
Well, there must be some solution.
Naturally, Watson.
I needn't be rude. I need a drink. I'm all in. I can't think anymore. All these letters and figures whirling through my brain. It's all twisted round.
Twisted round?
Huh?
That's it. That's what? Twisted around, you said. So simple, I never thought of it. Reverse the slide. You see, gentlemen? These figures are now identical with the first 3 names. In other words, all the figures of name number 4 are written backwards and read from right to left until we reverse the slide when they read correctly from left to right. Now, let's work on it. Pencil, Watson.
But, why would Dr. Tobel want to reverse the figures of number 4?
An added precaution, Lestrade, in case the cipher should fall into the wrong hands.
Oh, quite a compliment to you, Mr. Holmes. I mean, Tobel taking for granted that you would recognize the difference.
Thank you. Frederick-Hoffner. Frederick Hoffner. Sloanesque. Sloane Square. We must leave at once. Wait a minute. Information? Will you please give me the address of a Frederick Hoffner in Sloane Square?
I'll break this code. I'll find the name of that 4th man before Holmes does.
There is not much more time. The submarine is to pick us up off Sheerness in 6 hours.
I've beaten Holmes so far. We'll meet your confounded submarine with the bomb site intact.
But Tobel is unconscious again. As last resort, we could abandon the code and take Tobel to Germany.
We'll try Tobel again in here. Wait. Spilling that glass of water was a very fortunate accident, my dear street brawler. Dr. Tobel's perversion of the cipher was so simple that it fooled us. I was looking for something ingenious. This is ingenuous. He simply reversed the cipher. F-R-E-D-E-R-I-C-K-H-O-F-N-E-R-S-L-O-A-N-E. Frederick Hoffner, Sloane Square. Of course. Hoffner would be the perfect selection.
Then you want us to tend to Hoffner?
No, we can use Hoffner. He's a brilliant scientist. If Dr. Tobel doesn't recover from your persuasion, Hoffner will be able to put the 4 parts together. You and Godfrey will call on Hoffner, and you will bring him here with the 4th section of the bomb site. Hurry.
Put up your hands, Professor Hoffner. I'll take the box. We meet again, Professor. Sherlock Holmes.
An improvement on the other makeup. Don't you think so, Professor?
So you think you've beaten me, Holmes?
I have. The real Hoffner is safely in the hands of Scotland Yard.
But I still have Tobel. Now I shall sell Germany the inventor instead of the invention.
You've learned nothing from him in spite of all your torture. Otherwise, you wouldn't be trying so desperately to collect the 4 sections of the bomb site.
A keen observation, my dear Holmes. But observe further that you are now in my hands, and I have profited by my last mistake of allowing underlings to attend to you.
Holmes took my place, and while the Nazis were inside with him, he instructed me to attach a small apparatus underneath their car.
He's a brilliant fellow, Holmes. I helped him prepare the apparatus.
Did you really, Doctor?
That is, I poured in the luminous paint when you told me to.
Very clever, Dr. Watson.
The apparatus drips at regular intervals, leaving a trail of luminous paint.
I see, leading us to Moriarty and Mr. Holmes.
Why are you so confident, Professor? Only a suggestion. But how do you know that Scotland Yard isn't waiting to break in at this very moment?
I selected this address with special care. No one can find it, not even Scotland Yard. Relax, Mr. Holmes. There's no escape.
I might suddenly dash to the window, break it open, and shout to a passerby.
There are no passers-by. The glass in the window is unbreakable, and the room is soundproof. This is my stronghold, Holmes, equipped with all the modern conveniences of a successful man in my profession. Sit down.
They faded out again, sir.
I don't understand, Lestrade. It stopped, and then it started, and now it stopped again.
Maybe the apparatus broke down.
Oh, a suggestion, gentlemen. At a crossroad back there, a car might have gone over the spots of paint, picked some up on the tires, and left his false trail.
That's just what I was about
to suggest myself.
Very well, we'll try it.
Now, Holmes, what should it be? The gas chamber, the cup of hemlock, or just a simple bullet through your brain?
You disappoint me, Professor.
Indeed?
Yes. Somehow I always thought that in the end, you'd prove to be just an ordinary cutthroat.
You know me better, Holmes.
Gas, poison, bullets. I assure you, Professor, were our positions reversed, I should have something more colorful, more imaginative to offer.
I'm satisfied to be the winner. I shall be alive.
Alive, yes. The winner, no. For in the last analysis, I shall have proved the more resourceful man. You didn't trap me here. I came here because I wanted to prevent your getting Hoffner. And all you can do in return is to commit ordinary murder, to relieve your sense of frustration.
And what, my good Mr. Holmes, could you have conceived that would have been so much more colorful?
Well, even offhand, I can improve upon your suggestions considerably, but that's only natural, of course.
And what is this brilliant idea of yours?
You know that a man dies if he loses 5 pints of blood? Yes, of course you do. I should have you placed on an operating table. Inject a needle into your veins and slowly draw off your life's blood.
The needle to the last. Eh, Holmes?
Slowly, drop by drop, the blood would be drawn from your body. You would be aware of every exquisite second to the very end. You would be watching yourself die scientifically, noting every reaction, and in full possession of your faculties.
Interesting.
Yes, isn't it? I humbly submit, Professor, that to the very end, I've been more resourceful than yourself.
You've played into my hands, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Time and again I've used this place as a haven for friends of mine, injured in altercations with Scotland Yard. I have a fully equipped hospital here.
The trail goes this way, Inspector.
Drop by drop, Holmes. Drop by drop. In a way, I'm almost sorry. You were a stimulating influence to me. But it was obvious that I should win in the end. Only a matter of moments now. Take Tobel down to the boat. Stop the engine. Closer to the end, Holmes. Closer and closer. Each second, a few more drops leave your desiccated body. And you can feel them, can't you? You're perfectly conscious, aren't you, Holmes?
I shall be conscious long after you're dead, Moriarty.
Still the same old swaggering, conceited Sherlock Holmes. Wait.
If Moriarty hears a shot, he'll kill Holmes. You keep an eye on the boat. Don't make a move till Dr. Watson and I get inside. Understand? You wait here, Professor Offner. Come on, Doctor. The water's this way. Moriarty's rooms must be out here.
I can't wait any longer, Holmes. You'll have to forgive the crudity, my friend. This is only the coup de grace.
Stand still, Moriarty, you're done for.
Holmes! On the contrary, Inspector, my men are outside. It's you who are done for.
Really? Just take a look out the window and see for yourself. He'll try to get to the speedboat.
Yes, he won't go without Tobel.
Come on. Wait.
Here's Dr. Tobel, Inspector. He ain't too badly hurt.
Thank heavens for that. Look after him, will you, Hoffner?
I'll take him to the car.
I expected you, but not with my revolver.
You realize, of course, when I was brought into the room blindfolded, that I heard the mechanism of this door?
Of course.
And yet, knowing that I'd heard it, you planned this way of escape. Not very flattering to me. Suicide, my dear Professor.
Not at all, my dear Holmes. You see, this is not an ordinary passageway. Oh, my mistake. It has been as equally well prepared as the rest of my humble quarters. I have a trap set, electric eye principle. My passing through will break the beam and automatically open a highly deceptive trap door. Behind me, of course, my pursuer, meaning you, my dear Holmes, will then be plunged 60 feet into the sewers below. Holmes! Holmes!
Poor Moriarty. I neglected to warn him. It seems some careless person came across his trap door and left it open. Come along, Watson.
Germany wanted the Tobel bomb site. We'll send her thousands of them in RAF planes.
Yes. Thanks to Mr. Sherlock Holmes and to Mrs. Tobel.
And of course, Inspector Lestrade.
Oh, that's all right, miss.
Things are looking up, Holmes. This little island's still on the map.
Yes. This fortress, built by nature for herself. This blessed plot. This earth, this realm. This England.